To pack a trophy case, you must have a plan to build.
Cole, how you doing?
And as recruiting classes from coast to coast take shape,
Got it.
Wisconsin's plan relies on talent within the state's borders, but also attracts the best from across the country.
We're awfully excited. Appreciate the time, all right?
Who's next? That all depends on who takes advantage of an opportunity. We'll explain on Inside Signing Day. Arrives, you don't really know what you're going to get. Hi, everyone. Welcome inside the football offices inside Camp Randall Stadium. I'm Chris Hall for UWBadgers.com, and I want to say good afternoon, but I know it's still good morning. The staff here since about 5 a.m. on what is the biggest day of the offseason, waiting for those national letters of intent to come in from recruits for the next hour or so. We're going to dive right into not just the players that this program brought in, but how they got them, why they targeted them, and how these players play a bigger role with the football program. So with that in mind, I want to start right away with Director of Recruiting, Andrew Marlatt. Andrew, thanks so much. I know you're very busy, but an exciting day, everything kind of going according to plan, but we were all here so early. Just walk us through what today is like for you. Such an important day, and you finally get to experience it starting today at 6 a.m.
Yeah, a lot of preparation, obviously,
Yeah.
and a lot of teamwork. Our coaches do an amazing job recruiting and building relationships with the recruits and with their families, and all of that made today easy and efficient. All of the work over this past year, and our coaching staff and our recruiting staff got to take all the credit.
So Penniman's comes in at 6:01, and we wait all the way until about 9:20, 9:25, whenever for Garrett Rance. Looking forward to that. A couple of days ago, got a sense that it was going to be Wisconsin, but until it comes in, you just don't know. What's that like for you?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's some anxiety, if you will,
Yeah.
especially on a few of those recruits that we went head to head with some other schools to get, but all of our guys stayed committed. We got them all in, and we're very happy.
So right now, I know that there are so many elements in place when you're targeting a recruiting class. What does Wisconsin make a priority, and why? When you first sit down to talk about what you're looking for in this upcoming year.
That's a fantastic question, and the first thing that comes to mind is our three-word mantra that we repeat daily around here, and that's smart, tough, dependable. And so those are the things we're looking for. Obviously, there's the tangible things you're looking for: athleticism, height, length,
Right.
speed, change of direction, those things you can see on film. And that's the first thing that excites us about a prospect. But then as we start to dig deeper, we want to get to know that kid, get to know his character, talk to his high school coaches, talk to principals, athletic directors, obviously get to transcript, check the academics, and then get to know the family, get to know that young man's, inner circle, if you will. So that's where the smart, tough, dependable come in. And those are those intangibles that take a little more digging, a little bit more harder recruiting effort to get. But that's where our football coaching staff comes in, and they would do a great job of that, just getting to know the recruit as a person and make sure they're a good fit for us here at Wisconsin.
You work all year, and I know that deadlines tend to spur action. The last 3, 5, 7, 10 days, how do things pick up? How do they escalate as you get closer to this morning?
Yeah, our class had, for the most part, come together over the last, about a month ago. We had, for the most part, our class completely put together. There were a few missing pieces that we finished up here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. With our running back piece, and we had a DB that we were fortunate to get late as well. So, but I would say for the most part, these last 7 to 10 days, we're just continuing to go out and visit our commits, watch them compete on the basketball floor, do home visits with them. Coach Chryst was allowed to do 1 home visit per recruit, and those home visits are huge, where they're
Right.
eating in the family's home, eating the food the mother and father have prepared, and just getting to know the family better. So.
Yeah, I've got that on my list to ask later on, what those visits are actually like. I think there's probably some good stories there. And you mentioned smart, tough, and dependable. Very important terms, but kind of without using those words, how would you characterize this class? You're looking for those traits, but each class kind of has its own identity, its own label. What would you give this one?
Just great people.
Great people?
Great people.
Okay.
And I think, smart will show up on their transcripts, but it's also going to show up on how they play on the field.
Yeah.
They're going to communicate. They're going to be leaders. They're going to be able to take what's taught to them in the classroom by their position coach out onto the practice field, and then most importantly on game day. So we've seen with this group their intelligence, not only academically, but as football players, we think is outstanding. Toughness, clearly, kids that play both ways. Many of them, these are athletes that play both sides of the ball in high school, and many of them are athletes that could play both ways here in certain cases. So they're tough kids. We feel they're going to buy into our weight room. With Ross Kalaji, our strength coach, you got to be tough. He runs an incredible program, so we think our kids will be a good fit there. And then dependable. They're going to go to class. They're going to show up on time. These are good kids from good families, and that's the fit we're looking for. And very excited about this class. I'd rank them extremely high in those 3 adjectives.
That's great. I think you nailed it right there at the end, the key word, fit. They fit the program. That's what you're happiest about. Well, Andrew, congratulations on today. I know you got a lot more to do moving forward. Thanks for taking a minute. We're going to, of course, come back with a look at some of the in-state contributors and why attacking Wisconsin is so important. But first, our very own Brandon Spiegel takes a look at some of the notable in-state recruits to come from Wisconsin.
Ever since Barry Alvarez came here as football coach in 1990, his first declaration was, we're putting a wall up around the state.
Vince Beagle just storming through. Record-breaking run! Melvin Gordon!
Kendricks into the end zone.
There's a uniqueness to Wisconsin kids in attitude, in toughness, in pride.
There might not be a better example of that than 2003 recruit Joe Thomas from Brookfield High School. He started 38 games in his Wisconsin career, and in 2006 was a consensus All-American and Wisconsin's first Outland Trophy winner.
He was just so physical, so technically good. 20 years from now, 50 years from now, we're going to be talking about Joe Thomas as arguably the best offensive lineman to come out of Wisconsin.
In 2006, Wisconsin brought in tight end Lance Kendricks out of Rufus King High School in Milwaukee.
Caught by Kendricks at the 40, 45, 50.
During his senior campaign, Kendricks was named a consensus All-American after hauling in 43 catches for 663 yards and 5 touchdowns.
You knew when the time came for him to turn pro, he was going to be a good one.
Another NFL first-round pick arrived on campus in 2009, an offensive lineman Travis Frederick from Sharon, Wisconsin, and Bigfoot High School. He started 31 games for the Badgers, including 14 at center his junior season when he was named first-team All-Big Ten.
What stood out to me is how smart he was. When the offensive line is veteran and talented, it's the intelligence that sets it apart, and I think Travis Frederick was one of those people that defined that.
We trying to be great, right? Yeah.
In 2011, Melvin Gordon sprinted onto campus from Bradford High School in Kenosha.
Touchdown, Melvin Gordon!
The unanimous consensus first-team All-American rushed for the second most yards in FBS history his junior season with 2,587. And he scored 32 touchdowns.
The first couple of times you saw him carry the ball, you could tell that he was a unique talent. And he got better and better and better as his career unfolded.
In 2012, Vince Beagle from Lincoln High School in Wisconsin Rapids joined the Badgers, and so far in 3 seasons, he has 17.5 sacks.
Pressure coming from Beagle!
He's as humble as he is good, which I think is really a unique combination. Got a personality about him that I think every team needs. He's really about the program. He's really about his teammates.
There's Vince Beagle.
Defines what Wisconsin's approach is to in-state kids, how important they are, how vital they are to this program, because it sells it.
Some notable in-state recruits from the past. Brandon Spiegel, thank you so much. Now happy to be joined by Coach Chris Herring. Coach, let's dive right into staying within the borders. How does Wisconsin tack Wisconsin, and why is it so important?
I think the Wisconsin brand is one of those things that the in-state kids have bought into, and I think that goes back to Coach Alvarez. And certainly there's been a lot of good players in the tradition of Wisconsin kids coming to the university and doing well. Helps us in the state of Wisconsin, and we got to make sure we do a great job of still recruiting those kids, understanding that now it's kind of opened up nationally, and there's a lot of programs coming in here trying to get kids out of Wisconsin.
Sure. So when someone like Cole Van Lanen commits and stays in the state to come to the University of Wisconsin, how does it help you accomplish that and move closer towards retaining that kind of talent?
Right, and I think it starts with Cole being a Wisconsin kid. His heart was in Wisconsin, but with all the information available and these kids have access to go and travel and see all these other universities, you don't take anything for granted. Cole was a national recruit. He could have gone just about anywhere in the country. And to be able to have Cole play in state, he can now share that story with a lot of other recruits from the state that are going to get national attention.
You were a high school coach for a long time. How much has all today? Because you know both sides now.
Right. I think that gives you a little bit of an advantage just to know kind of the advice and where high school kids.
Experience on that side of recruiting shaped how you talk to high school coaches or approach an athlete?
And I think from a parent standpoint, you also know what the parents are going through.
Yeah.
Being on the high school side of it, sometimes at the college level we forget all those other people that are involved in the recruiting process. And having lived on that side of it, I kind of can temper some of those issues and address them in a little different fashion.
I mean, where do you rank that in terms of importance when recruiting? I'm going to guess that's pretty important.
I rank it pretty high,
Yeah.
just from the standpoint that when I sit down with a high school coach, a lot of times we'll discuss being on that side of it too. Due to NCAA rules, they get placed in the middle of it, and I've been there before, so sometimes just having that common ground breaks the ice with a lot of the coaches. The pressure they're getting from the college coaches to have the kids call them.
Had a lot of, if not most of, I think, the walk-in class, all those came in right around 7:01, 7:02 Central Time, all coming from states of Wisconsin and Illinois. You're tied to a lot of these walk-ons. How do you identify walk-on talent? Does it happen on its own when you're out on the road, or do you have a name in mind you want to go see it? How do you identify that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a combination of a lot of things that end up being walk-on talent. A lot of times we'll recruit these kids coming in out of their junior year, or sophomore year. We have our eyes on them already. Getting them to camp, you recruit them just the same way you would a scholarship player. And in the end, there's a limit to how many scholarships you can give out. So the kids then understand that maybe walk-on is the next best available option at Wisconsin. And once we can back that up with the walk-on tradition here and how walk-ons have gone on to really earn scholarships, become captains, play in the NFL, that means a lot to these kids. So they see it as an opportunity too, but you don't target a kid as a walk-on right away. It's just a recruit, and you go about recruiting them the same way.
You said scholarship, and I'll let you go with this one. How do you find a scholarship punter down in Georgia? How does that happen?
Well, we had specialist camps over the summer, and Anthony came up and became a kid who really distinguished himself in that specialist camp. We watched him compete. We had a chance to work with him for an entire day, and the one thing you find out that he's an outstanding competitor and he's a great punter. He kind of felt like he fit our system and what we're trying to do with punters. So I think the match was there, and once you get to know him and build a relationship with him, it made it a great recruiting process for both sides.
The match was there again, second guest in a row, bringing up the term fit and why that's important, of course, playing a role during recruiting. Coach, thanks so much for your time. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Cole Van Lanen and some other offensive linemen in this class when we come right back on Inside Signing Day with Coach Joe Rudolph.
Nissan's family of crossovers with intuitive all-wheel drive. See driving in a more confident light in an IIHS top safety pick, like the 2015 Nissan Rogue or the 2015 Nissan Pathfinder. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the Wisconsin Badgers.
First of all, I want to say how lucky I am to be at a university that recognizes the importance of trying to bring this tournament back. For my sport, it is one of the most prestigious events of the year, and as he said, we hosted it in the past, but it's taken a hiatus, and we're very happy to have it back.
Monday Night Hoops at the Kohl Center, and it's family night. Family 4-pack tickets are still available. The package also includes 4 hot dogs and 4 sodas, all for just $28. And next weekend, find your best whites for Whiteout Weekend against Michigan. Need some help? Get an official shirt at Bucky's Locker Room. Tickets start at only $20, and you can find them at uwbadgers.com.
And over the 50 now inside the 45, cuts back far sideline.
Next season's opener against LSU will be here fast, but first see how Wisconsin football is getting ready for 2016 during this year's spring game on April 23rd. Tickets are $5 and on sale right now, with proceeds benefiting the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement.
Congratulations to all runners.
You can register right now for this year's Crazy Legs Classic, whether you're looking to set a personal best or have a group running for a cause. The annual 8K run or 2-mile walk is April 30th. Register online at crazylegsclassic.com.
Back inside Camp Randall, happy now to be joined by offensive coordinator Joe Rudolph. Coach, thanks so much for taking a minute. Let's get right to that in-state product, Cole Van Len. Right now, he will probably garner the most attention out of this class. How do you integrate a player like that into this program? What are the first few days, weeks, months like for a player like Cole?
Well, I think there's a different plan for each guy. You know, I think you see how far along the development is, and with Cole, I think he's got a chance to possibly come in and contribute. You know, he's really talented. He's strong. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's a smart kid, so I think picking up the information will be something that he'll do easily. So I'm excited about him. Can't wait.
Asking about smart, tough, dependable, you can learn a lot about someone's character if they go 0-36 in high school. What is it about Patrick Castle that really jumped out when you're looking for talent?
I was wondering where you're going, yeah.
Maybe character there.
Patrick, you're right,
yeah.
You know, and had to battle through a lot of things, you know, and I don't think they quite got over the hump, but got close in some big games. But, you know, he came as a recommendation from Brooks Bollinger, said there's a kid out here to check out, and Patrick was fun. You know, we had a chance to see him. Coach Tibbs did a great job of getting him to come up to camp and working with him at camp and seeing just how explosive he was at testing out, and then how physical he was on the field. Again, I'm really excited about the two guys coming in. Like, I think Patrick and Cole have the ability to play a lot of positions, and you know, they can be really good out on the edges where I think they'll be. So it's fun.
You know, when guys come to Wisconsin, they know what that means to be an offensive lineman at Wisconsin. Over time, I guess, and now, how do you put your little touch on what's happening here with the O-line? What's in place, but also how you want it to work?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that in the offensive line, or I think as the years pass, those guys making sure that the guys coming up understand it and respect it, and they help each other along that way and support them and push them, you know, and that's what it's all about. That's where tradition speaks. So this group understands that, and it's fun. You know, a lot of faces were out there early and have experience and know what it's like to be counted on and be in those situations. So I'm excited about the group.
Because it takes all five to work right, is O-line one of the hardest positions for a high schooler to transition
I think anyone
into?
will tell you in the O-line, it's fun when when you can think like the man next to you.
Yeah.
And the more you have those combinations in there together, where that communication sometimes is right at the last second, the comfort level and the confidence you have in that only grows with repetitions. And it's tough for a guy to come in, but it's not something that's impossible by any means. So they'll get those opportunities. They'll be getting valuable reps right off the get-go. So
let's talk about some of the guys who have already been here. Dan Volz, first of all, how's he doing? And then also, right now, you're on the other end of what we talked about, this injury bug that bit your group last year. But now here you are. You have a lot of guys with some depth. I mean, can you even go left or right for spring practice and know who you have right now?
Yeah, well, I think the fun part is you'll have competition,
yeah.
and guys will feel that. And like I said, I think as a group, if you push each other and they challenge each other and help each other along the way, you're going to be pretty good. Dan gets the most out of everything he can do right now. He works his tail off and got all the confidence in the world. He'll get himself in position to help this team. And I'm excited about the guys that we're going to go through spring with, you know, and a lot of those guys, you know, had chance to be out there on the field and competing, and a few new faces, you know, so it's
It's fun.
Yeah, get ready to go right now with them. It'll be a good time.
I get the feeling everyone can't wait to get on the field, but that's a good thing, even in February. Coach, thanks so much for your time. Spring practice can't come soon enough, and especially a valuable time for the offensive line. Right now, we spent some time talking about some in-state contributors. How about out of state in some of the past here at the University of Wisconsin, some notable ones. Once again, here's Brandon Spiegel.
Any coach that works at Wisconsin will tell you that once you get them on campus, if you
I
can
appreciate your
get a kid
time.
to come here and see what this place is like and see how picturesque it is, how diverse it is, it's a huge selling point.
The Badgers roster is filled with players from coast to coast. In 2001, Owen Daniels arrived in Madison from Naperville, Illinois.
To the air, Daniels, touchdown!
He came in as a quarterback and went out as a tight end and a fourth-round pick of the Houston Texans.
He was one of those guys that I think saw it right away that there were other opportunities and was welcoming to the opportunity to play tight end, to catch passes, and he did it for the betterment of the team.
In 2009, the Badgers picked up running back Monte Ball out of Wentzville, Missouri.
I don't think Wisconsin coaches, fans really knew what they had until a game at Iowa.
Ball is the first down. Still fighting.
Ball finished his career with a then NCAA record 77 rushing touchdowns, including 33 his junior season.
Touchdown, Monte Ball!
In 2010, the Badgers found an offensive lineman who fit the Wisconsin mold from Mount Airy, Maryland, in Rob Havenstein.
There's a certain construction materials that go into a Wisconsin lineman. It starts with a sense of brawn, it starts with size, it starts with a great feet and athleticism, and an appreciation for the tradition that Wisconsin has here.
Havenstein matched a school record playing in 54 games, and as a senior was named first team All-Big Ten. Safety Michael Caputo arrived in Madison from Imperial, Pennsylvania in 2011.
He didn't know where Wisconsin was. He had no clue about Wisconsin until he got here, and now I don't know that you can shut him up about Wisconsin because it's such a huge piece of his life.
In his 4-year career, Caputo finished with 244 career tackles, including 106 his junior season.
Michael Caputo with help coming in and crashing down.
From Glassboro, New Jersey, the Badgers brought in running back Corey Clement in 2013.
Hand off Corey Clement.
He's just getting his chance to be the featured back, but he's already rushed for more than 1,700 yards and has found the end zone 21 times.
He wanted to be the next great tailback to come out of Wisconsin, and when you embrace that type of a legacy, good things happen.
Once again, Brandon, thank you. Back inside the offices here at Camp Randall. Go right from an out-of-state feature, some notables in the past with Coach Durante Jones. Coach, thanks so much for taking a minute. You know, most of your travel was to the East Coast. What made going out there so important, a priority this year?
Just getting back into the footprint of the Big Ten. You know, with Rutgers and Maryland now part of the conference. One of the things Coach Chryst and I discussed when we first got here was, could we get back in that area? You know, Wisconsin has a history of being in the East Coast with Ron Dane, Soup Campbell, Troy Vincent, and with the latest Rob Hammerstein. So trying to get back in that area of the country and put an imprint. You know, let those guys be known that Wisconsin is we're going to compete for some of the top recruits in the area.
So you head out there. Other than physically going there, what are you bringing up? What are you mentioning? What's important when you actually make it out there to draw them?
You know what? You'd be surprised. The parents of the recruits know Wisconsin, and they love Wisconsin. So when the name Wisconsin comes up on the East Coast, the parents are like, whoa, you know, that's big time, because that was the era that Wisconsin was really hitting the area.
Sure.
So it has an impact on those young men that's out there. And then naturally they see the Rose Bowls, they see the championship games in the Big Ten, and they see Wisconsin's always out in the bowl games, and it's an attraction to them, you know, and plus the Big Ten League, and it gives them another option other than Maryland, Rutgers, or Penn State. So,
the parents, you mentioned that, and I want to ask, you know, in-home visits and how important it is. Walk us through what these are like, because you're going in there. Obviously, they know what you want.
Yeah.
You know what they want.
Right.
For their kids.
Right.
The athlete knows what he wants.
Yeah.
What's the approach when you're walking into
You know what they don't know?
house?
A lot of parents, well, first, besides the food, right?
Yeah.
You know, you get some food of all types. You get beef stew, you get whole gambit of seafood, crab cakes. Just they want to give you that taste of
A
what
little
it's like on the
taste,
East
sure.
Coast,
You're all the way out there.
Parents they want to know, will their kid be safe?
Right.
The mom want to know who's going to take care of my baby. Will they be, who's going to help them get to class? Who's going to help them work through any issues that they may come about? Most fathers want to know, what's the plan like? What's the depth chart? But aside from that, going into home visits is really for the parents to get to know us, and for us to get to know the parent, and the recruit will see a different side of us, because when you're inside the home, the recruit at that point, we know the football aside, so we're not really discussing football in the home visit. I mean, they know why we're there, it's about the football ability, but it's more about that. For us, it's about the fit of the young man. Not only does he fit here at Wisconsin, as a player and as a student, but it's an interview on our end as well, so do they think that we're this type of staff that would take care of their child? So it goes both ways.
Sure.
But the in-home visits are great because now you can see them in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
They get to come here on an official visit, which is our comfort zone.
Right.
And now we go there, it's like an official visit, the vice versa of the official visit, so to speak.
But a value system on those visits in terms of what you learn, can someone work their way on or off the board you've got back there? How valuable are these visits?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Yeah.
Not with this class, naturally.
Right.
I thought this class was pretty on point. But in the past, you've seen guys that you get into the home and it's just not a fit, and more so on our end. Sometimes it can happen that way. Different values or different expectations, and it depends on what was told beforehand. So, you try to learn more about that before you go into the home and get to that point. But in this business, every so happen, it may happen here and there. But for the most part, you try to avoid that going in and kind of know what you're going to get up front.
Before I let you go, let's just talk about two guys before you leave. Of course, we're coming in. I mean, Eric Burrell's 6 feet tall. You got Patrick Johnson. He's 6'1", size in the back. That important this year?
Yes, but more so athleticism.
Yeah.
The one thing we wanted to improve on in this back end was the ball skills of the safety position, both of which those guys have. They both go both ways. They both play wide receiver. They both play defensive back. So wherever the team needs for them, they help out. So they're an athlete in that sense. So we want to get more athletic in the back end, more ball skills, guys that will still come up and put their face on it, guys that can be quarterbacks back there and just natural leaders. So we thought we got that with those two guys.
Yeah, two guys who also helped everything go according to plan this morning. Well, Coach Jones, thank you so much for taking your time. Right now, back to Brandon Spiegel, who took a deeper look in some of the notable first-year contributors, for the University of Wisconsin.
Every player wants to step in and play right away. Every player wants to have an impact right away. That opportunity exists at Wisconsin.
66-yard run for the freshman.
In 2009, Chris Borland was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
He made an impression with one play.
Snap back clean, pressure is heavy, and it's blocked by Borland.
I don't know how you could have kept a guy like that off the field. He was a playmaker, and we saw that right from the beginning and saw it right to the end of a guy who put everything that he had on the field.
He recorded 54 tackles, 5 sacks, and forced 5 fumbles. In 2010, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year was also a Badger, running back James White. He led UW with more than 1,000 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns.
Inside the 10, splits a tackle to the 5, right to the end zone. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
He was always reliable, was always did what the team needed, and yet he was overshadowed every single year. He wasn't an afterthought, but he was not your first thought. And he had an extraordinary career here.
In 2013, Sojourn Shelton stepped in and started 12 games at corner. He grabbed 4 interceptions.
That's intercepted. Going up and getting it is Sojourn Shelton.
The most by a true freshman in school history. He also had 7 pass breakups and 36 tackles.
That's one of the more underrated debuts of any player here, because you're right, have that much weight on your shoulders to accept it the way he did and to excel the way he did. He's one of the cool success stories to come through here is guys who have made an impression right from the get-go and have gotten better every year.
Rafael Gaglianone made his presence felt in 2014. First field goal of his career, a 51-yarder. He hit the game-tying field goal in the fourth and the game winner in overtime in the Outback Bowl, and his .864 field goal percentage ranks as the second best single-season mark in UW history.
He's one of those guys that just comes and goes and thinks he's going to do the job and without hesitation will take on the challenge of trying to kick.
This past season, it was linebacker Chris Orr.
Throwing him down is Chris Orr.
Despite missing 3 games with an injury, Orr ranked 6th on the team in tackles.
He made such a strong impression on us at the outset that you would think that the next step is going to be a big one. And he's in a pool where there's a lot of talent, but I think he sees that as a challenge, and I think he sees that as an opportunity to really make a name for himself even more so than he did his freshman year.
Back here inside signing day, joined now by defensive line coach Nookie Brechterfield. Coach, thank you so much for taking a minute. You know, we all know we've had Coach Rudolph on already. You know, I think everyone who follows Wisconsin knows what the identity of this offensive line. They know what it's trying to achieve. What about over on your side? What are you trying to create over there?
You know, we want to be physical.
Yeah.
We want to be guys that run to the ball. You know, our job is to, you know, be physical is the main thing. You know, be able to knock guys back, get off blocks and fly. So that's the number one thing we talk about in our room is being able to out-physical the opponent. So, I mean, I want them to see a physical bunch up front and guys that fly around.
When you're coaching that to your players, I mean, there's a lot of that obviously is physical, but there's a want to there that you need when you're not only talking to who you have now, but who you're recruiting, right?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, they adapt real quick. They understand what's the expectation. You know, the standard, the saying is a standard is a standard. And guys know what the standard is and what my expectations are. And these guys go out there and try to do it every day. And the want to comes with, you know, everyday grind, you know, so.
Let's talk about Garrett Rand for a minute. Not knowing until a couple of days ago exactly what was going to happen. I think around 9:30 today is when his letter came in. He's been pegged as someone who's maybe the most ready to play. How do you transition a recruit like that into the college game?
You know, he, like physically, he's coming as the most ready to go. I think that's the first and foremost thing is physically he's going to be ready to go. And if you get to know Garrett mentally, he's on a different level. You know, I think he's done a great job getting his body ready. And when you talk to him, he's all about football. I mean, he loves to work out. He loves to play. He loves the game. And he'll have a chance to come in along with the rest of them. But I think he'll have a chance to fight for some playing time, no doubt.
Is the fact that he physically he is ready, and it's when you're coaching him, it's get the ball carrier, go get the quarterback. So you're teaching him how to go one-on-one a lot to get that job done.
You know, it's more, for me, it's more fundamentally based to start.
Okay.
Make sure they understand what their job is and how to execute it. And then from there, get to the ball. You know, it's going to be more catching up to the college. You know, you're amongst better players. So technique and fundamentals is going to be key, no matter how strong or how, you know, weak you are, but it's going to be key for him to catch it fundamentally, and that's my job to get him right, and he'll go, you know.
You seem excited.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm excited about everybody. I'm excited about the whole group.
Yeah.
You know, but he is definitely, you know, and we've been solid with him, and we were there was no surprise he signed with us. I mean, you know, this whole build-up and everything, but we're excited about him.
Good. Isaiah Loudermilk plays 8-man ball in Kansas. How do you find someone like that? And
you know, we put his film on, and the number one thing you see is a big athletic guy. You know, it doesn't matter the competition or 8-man, 2-man, 5-man, it don't matter. You know, when you see a big guy moving like that and the way he moves, it was a no-brainer for me and the staff. And, you know, Coach Gilmer did a great job with him, and he got a chance to get on campus, and, you know, he's, you know, I look at him as a piece of clay and get a chance to mold him and get him up to speed with big-time ball. So I'm excited about him.
So you get to start that with spring practice. You got a lot of guys in your room, too, have a lot of snaps. How do you put this thing together looking towards next year with spring practice?
You know, we had a lot of guys that played a lot of snaps this year, so really bringing them along and taking the next step with them. And then, you know, the next guys up, the guys that, the Billy Hirschfields and the try to get Xander. Well, Xander's going to miss spring ball, but Billy and Patterson and those other guys that were in the fold have them take the next step. And the guys that were playing a lot, really just try to cut it loose more this spring. But, excited about spring ball. And, Keldrick Preston's in the fold and Hagerman T's in the fold. So it'll be fun, with the young guys coming up and the young guys coming in. So
nothing but excitement.
It is.
Not only for who you got, but the entire group coming up. Coach,
no doubt.
Thank you so much for your time. Coming up on a little bit, halfway home here on Inside Signing Day, but still plenty left, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Nissan's family of crossovers with intuitive all-wheel drive. See driving in a more confident light in an IIHS top safety pick, like the 2015 Nissan Rogue or the 2015 Nissan Pathfinder. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the Wisconsin Badgers.
First of all, I want to say how lucky I am to be at a university that recognizes the importance of trying to bring this tournament back. For my sport, it is one of the most prestigious events of the year, and as he said, we hosted it in the past, but it's taken a hiatus, and we're very happy to have it back.
Monday Night Hoops at the Kohl Center, and it's family night. Family 4-pack tickets are still available. The package also includes 4 hot dogs and 4 sodas, all for just $28. And next weekend, find your best whites for Whiteout Weekend against Michigan. Need some help? Get an official shirt at Bucky's Locker Room. Tickets start at only $20, and you can find them at uwbadgers.com.
And over the 50 now inside the 45, cuts back far sideline.
Next season's opener against LSU will be here fast, but first, see how Wisconsin football is getting ready for 2016 during this year's spring game on April 23rd. Tickets are $5 and on sale right now, with proceeds benefiting the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement.
Congratulations to all runners.
You can register right now for this year's Crazy Legs Classic, whether you're looking to set a personal best or have a group running for a cause. The annual 8K run or 2-mile walk is April 30th. Register online at crazylegsclassic.com.
Back inside Camp Randall, Signing Day Live continues, going on the 38th minute of this live show here on Signing Day. Happy to be joined now by running backs coach John Settle. Coach, thanks for taking a moment. You guys just learned not too long ago, just a few days ago, about Sam Brodner, the fact that he wanted to come here, became official this morning. Let's start with Sam. What do you like about him? I was around you when you were talking to him on the phone this morning.
He's a young man that we had in camp when he came to camp this summer. He actually came as a linebacker. And so we had guys on the staff that had an opportunity to work with him. So we knew a little bit about him. And then when the film came across our desk, it was impressive. And some of the things that he did had a good mixture of size and speed. I like that combination. I like the fact that he was fast enough to get the edge on some runs and showed the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's big enough, strong enough to block. So he was a guy that kind of fits what we do and want to get to, in the future. And I'm glad to have him.
Say, being a running back at the University of Wisconsin, it's attractive, it's valuable. Let's go through your checklist. What do you tick off? Running back at Wisconsin must be.
Well, we all start with what Coach Chryst lays out. He must be smart, and we go into the school. I had an opportunity to sit down across from him, talk X's and O's with him, so to speak. Wanted to see his football IQ. That's what kind of student he was, football-wise, how he was able to retain things, and then you move to tough. And so, and in my conversation with him, I asked him, I said, what was the most carries you had in a game? He said 50.
50?
50, so I was sold. And then, you go back and you watch the film, and it happened to be against a good opponent in about 8 inches of snow. And, so he carried the ball 50 times for over 300 yards. So
that sounds like some story somebody would tell. There's a foot of snow on the ground. I had 50 carries back when we had leather helmets. But no, this happened recently.
Recently,
yeah.
Just this past season. So I was excited, to hear that. So like I said, I was pretty much sold. And then we talked about being dependable. And so I asked him how long did it take him to get ready for the next week. And he said by Monday, his body was beginning to recover. So for me, that's big. The fact that the guy has to be available. You want a guy that obviously shows all of the good things of good running backs. Speed, like we talked about, having good vision, good body, balance control, body control and good balance, and the fact that he's able to change direction, put his foot down, get vertical. At 5'10", 210 pounds, maybe a little bigger by the time he gets here. So I like that size. We want to be physical in all that we do. So we talk about a guy that has carried it 50 times in the game. Can't help but smile about that.
Ready to go by Monday. Youth, huh? That's good. Well, he's going to come into a room that's got two guys in it who are both going to want the ball. What do you do this spring in terms of figuring that out? Do you let them make the decision for you?
Well,
what they do on
we
the
always
field.
talk about competition, and spring will be big for us. I believe that you have a year. They have a year under their belt with the kind of a new scheme, new system that we install. So they should be that much further ahead of the learning curve, and so I'm looking forward to a great competition, not only between those two, but I look to Taiwan Dill, the young man that had an opportunity to get some reps. I think spring would be big for him. And then just the fact that we really don't know. We saw flashes during the season of Bradrick Shaw, the redshirt freshman. So looking forward to get him in the mix and see what he does. And so it's going to be a great time of competition just to see who can practice day in and day out. And as we get closer to the fall, hopefully things work themselves out.
Yeah, certainly will be something that I'm sure anyone who comes out to cover practice, fans alike, will keep an eye on. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Coach John Settle joining us here inside signing day. Let's go back to Brandon Spiegel now, taking a look at some of the notable walk-ons who have come through Wisconsin football.
If you can play, this place can find a spot for you. And if you're willing to prove yourself, it's been a remarkable track record for Wisconsin.
The wall says it all. Right next to the Badgers locker room, the list of walk-ons that have earned letters, scholarships, been captains, and have made it to the league. The one that jumps off that list,
J.J. Watt, and what a story this young man is.
The 2008 walk-on started all 26 games in his 2-year career and was named the 2010 Lott Impact Trophy winner.
Down again, J.J. Watt.
It was a run-on sentence for him when he was here, especially his junior year, of how good he was and how many plays he made.
In 2009, Jared Aberderis walked into Camp Randall Stadium, and in 2013 walked out as the single-season record holder for receptions and yards.
He's it deep down the middle. Aberderis is open, got it, 10, 5, touchdown!
He tied a school record with 202 receptions and ranked second all-time at UW in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns.
One of those guys who brought a blue-collar work ethic to wanting to get better every day. And I think when he had an opportunity, he seized it.
Now the 2015 team that finished 10-3 and Holiday Bowl champs was led by walk-ons. Defensively, it was Joe Schobert. The 2012 walk-on was a 2015 first-team All-American and Big Ten linebacker of the year.
And he's sacked again, and it's Joe Schobert again.
As good as this Wisconsin defense was, it really hinged on what his abilities were to create havoc for the opponent, and a lot of people benefited from it. Years from now, again, he's one of those people that we're going to be talking about quite a bit.
On offense, the 2015 leading rusher, passer, and receiver were all former walk-ons. Quarterback Joel Stavy is UW's all-time winningest quarterback with 31 victories. He finished his career number 2 all-time at Wisconsin in passing yards, attempts, completions, and touchdown passes. His favorite target?
Play fake from Stabby. Time in the pocket. Lines up, lets it go. Over the middle, caught by Alex Erickson.
Alex Erickson, the 2012 walk-on, grabbed 77 receptions his senior season. He ranked 6th all-time in receptions and 10th all-time in receiving yards.
Where would this team have been without Joel Stave and Alex Erickson? It makes you shudder a little bit, but those two were as reliable and as productive as any duo in certainly recent Wisconsin history.
Both Wisconsin's first-team all Big Ten selections this past season, Erickson and Schobert, both walk-ons.
Brandon, once again, thank you so much. Now joined by Coach Ted Gilmore. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here on Inside Signing Day. I want to just start with wide receivers. That's the hardest position to scout.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think as we evaluate them, we put them in one or two categories, either big-bodied guy, and that guy has to have a complete catching radius, or your separation guy that has a little more speed, do some things with the ball, and do some things I can't coach. But at the end of the day, I think we want a football player. I think we want a good athlete that can do multiple things.
How does Wisconsin approach recruiting wide receivers? Because you think Wisconsin, you think running school. You know, last year, of course, Joel Stave, they did plenty through the air, but a lot of people must think that stigma's there too. How do you approach when you walk into someone's house and talk to them about an opportunity that exists for a wide receiver at Wisconsin?
Sure. Well, I remind them, I don't think it matters how much you throw it, but who you're throwing it to.
Yeah.
So whether you're in a spread system or not, I've been in part of those systems when you line up with 3, 4, 5 receivers all the time, and still by and large, there are 1 or 2 guys are primary targets. And it's no different in our offense, you know. So the one plus about our offense is not a lot of short throws. So a young man that is sold on wanting to become a complete receiver has to learn how to run the entire route tree. So there's a lot of pluses to this offense.
Yeah, so it's just you have to be physical, right?
No question, no question. We're going to challenge them to be complete receivers.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to be excited about making a block as catching the ball. So, it's easier said than done with some of those guys, but, the kind of kids we're trying to recruit, those smart, tough, dependable kids, understand that they're going to have to bring their lunch pail.
Let's talk about one of those guys, Quintez Cephas. He turns down a D1 basketball scholarship. Not one of the biggest guys on the recruit spreadsheet that we all have, but Wisconsin went after him early. Why?
Well, even before I knew he was a basketball commit, just watching the tape, the athleticism stood out. I mean, he was a good athlete doing some terrific things, and as you watched the tape and then you did your homework and visit with the coaches there, this kid hadn't played a lot of football. And then when I did look at the basketball, I was like, whoa. And I don't know a lot about basketball, but I know enough to think he's a pretty good player. So I don't understand how that recruiting side of it works, but he's a good athlete.
When someone stands out like that, you start thinking about what he can do for you. If you get your hands on him, you can coach him. Is that part of it?
Sure, no question. And when a young man is committed to play basketball, you ask those questions, do he want to play football?
Right.
Is he committed to that process? And I think for him, it was, he wanted to play at the highest level, whether it's basketball or football. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. In fact, I like recruiting kids that do multiple sports. I mean, you see different things on a basketball court that you may not necessarily see on the football field. So I just think it's a plus that you're getting an athlete that can transition and do multiple things, and that speaks volume to his abilities.
Let's talk about your room, the responsibility of the wide receiver group as everyone gets used to what will be a new quarterback this year to help that quarterback develop and get comfortable through the spring.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's a question that a lot of people don't pay credence to, that a wide receiver is just as important as that development of a young quarterback.
Sure.
With timing, spacing, equal completions. I mean, we got to be where we're supposed to be there on time, and we got to make plays and give that quarterback the confidence in what he's doing. So it's a huge role and it's a huge responsibility on our part, and it's one that I want the guys to understand.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing how you and that group help the quarterback come along this spring. Coach Ted Gilmore, when we come back, did you know there was a 6'7" tight end in this recruiting class? Coach Mickey Turner will join us to talk about that next here on Inside Signing Day.
Nissan's family of crossovers with intuitive all-wheel drive. See driving in a more confident light in an IIHS top safety pick, like the 2015 Nissan Rogue or the 2015 Nissan Pathfinder. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the Wisconsin Badgers.
First of all, I want to say how lucky I am to be at a university that recognizes the importance of trying to bring this tournament back. For my sport, it is one of the most prestigious events of the year, and as he said, we hosted it in the past, but it's taken a hiatus, and we're very happy to have it back.
Monday Night Hoops at the Kohl Center, and it's family night. Family 4-pack tickets are still available. The package also includes 4 hot dogs and 4 sodas, all for just $28. And next weekend, find your best whites for Whiteout Weekend against Michigan. Need some help? Get an official shirt at Bucky's Locker Room. Tickets start at only $20, and you can find them at uwbadgers.com.
And over the 50 now inside the 45, cuts back far sideline.
Next season's opener against LSU will be here fast, but first, see how Wisconsin football is getting ready for 2016 during this year's spring game on April 23rd. Tickets are $5 and on sale right now, with proceeds benefiting the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement.
Congratulations to all runners.
You can register right now for this year's Crazy Legs Classic, whether you're looking to set a personal best or have a group running for a cause. The annual 8K run or 2-mile walk is April 30th. Register online at crazylegsclassic.com.
You see the mountains. Back here inside signing day, joined by Coach Mickey Turner, a 6'7" recruit coming. We'll get to that in a second, but let's talk about tight ends first and the role they play in Paul Chryst offense. Very important.
Oh, yeah.
How does that in turn affect how you recruit?
You know, I think there's a lot of schools out there that tell their recruits, hey, we use a tight end a lot. I think we're one of those schools that actually follows through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen it over the years. There's guys that I came in watching, like Owen Daniels, who are still playing
Yeah.
Super Bowls now. Garrett Graham, Lance Kendricks, Travis Beckham, all Americans. So I think being able to not only tell them that, hey, you're going to get a good shot in this offense and we're going to use you in a lot of different ways, but actually show them the production that guys have had in the past really rings true.
How much does it help for you to understand recruiting in general when you did play here? You've been through it. You understand exactly what you as a coach now are trying to do for this program. How does that help?
Exactly. Some people may not know this, but Coach Chryst, kind of in a few of his first roles, was a tight end coach. And then Coach Rudolph, who's the coordinator now, coached tight ends for a number of years. So learning from those two and still having their guidance on a lot of things really helps kind of round out the position, I think. I feel very comfortable with what I teach, but I know that no matter what the coaching point may be, there's going to be some good lesson to learn from it.
What excites you the most about getting a 6'7" tight end?
You know, the beauty about him, I mean, he's a giant, but we've had great 6'3" tight ends, we've had great 6'7" tight ends, but you know, Jake's one of those guys that he can move really well, you know, as a plus. So I think when he gets here, people are going to see the size as the first bonus, but yeah, you can see him right there running around. But when the way he moves, you'll see him rush a passer right here, you'll see him catch balls. It's pretty impressive.
You went to Colorado, met with Daron
Oh, yeah.
Harrell. I've been asking some coaches about what those visits are like, and Coach Jones told a great story about getting in good with the parents and what it's like talking with them and getting fed. Going out to Colorado, how was that for you,
what?
And what was that visit like?
Anytime you're first initially learning about someone, you're always keeping an eye out for just the smallest things. You know, if you ask a question and that person hesitates a little bit or they immediately answer positively, those things ring true. And you may not even know it at the time, but you kind of keep track of all those little nuggets you might get. And when I first went to Colorado, everybody from the assistant principal to the team pastor, I sat next to him the whole game, and he's just going on and on and on. And then the basketball coach sought me out afterwards and said, hey, he's the one kid that kind of leads my team. And it just kind of was all-encompassing to let me know that we weren't wrong in our evaluation there, that we found a little gem.
It leads me here to my last question. You know, for you, you're one of the younger guys on the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an example of some of the things that you learn each year and will use going forward to pick up on how you recruit?
It's a definite learning curve. And I think coming to Wisconsin, we had to set some kind of ground rules on where we were going to go recruit, the kind of young man we wanted to hold true to Wisconsin values. And going into a new place a couple times and some East Coast things and, obviously Denver, those things happen quickly. So the more closely I can get to the coach or to the people in the area and kind of learn what their culture is all about, then I can express to them how we tie into those things. If you go in right away and just say, hey, Wisconsin's great, what do you think? They're going to go, well, we've got our own kind of set values here. How do they mesh? But I've had, a while now to get used to those places, and now that I know them and kind of feel comfortable with them, it's been very fun.
Terrific. Well, looking forward to seeing what you do with that tight end here in spring practice.
That'll be fun.
Coach Mickey Turner joining us. Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Talk about smart, tough, and dependable. Let's meet one of the early enrollees who certainly fit that mold. Got a chance to catch up with early enrollee Dallas Jeanty.
I kind of wanted a lot of different things for my college experience. I wanted to have a good college experience. I hear a lot of times that college is, one of the best times of your life. I wanted a place that could compete athletically, like, push me to my limits and make me a better player. And I wanted a degree that was coming from like a distinguished university that would stand for something, in the real world and life after football. Of all the universities I went to, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, it really stood out to me. I knew this was a place for me. Growing up, it was a little bit tough. I guess everyone has their trials and tribulations, and everyone has their own journey to get to where they're going in life. I was lucky enough to have the right people in my life. I went through a tough time. I think I was working 2 jobs. At one point I was working 3, but that was only for a couple months. It was balancing work and football and trying to take care of yourself. There's a lot to deal with, but then at the same time, I've always had the mindset that God gives his toughest, battles to his toughest soldiers. When you're working 2 jobs, in high school and taking care of yourself and paying bills and worrying about everything else is easy. The rest of life is easy. I got up here and you got to wake up at 6 a.m. for workouts. You get out of workouts. You got rehab. You got to rehab. You got your classes all day. And you got study hall at night. And coming from where I come from in life, that's not really anything to worry about. I kind of felt like, I feel like I was blessed for everything that I went through. It just gives you a mindset and a disposition to handle things. When you've been through a lot and when you've done a lot, some people come up and fold, and then for some people it's a lot easier because back home was a lot harder. I just want to be the best me that I can. I'm working on developing my game in all aspects. You got a bunch of coaches who really care about you, man. And that's kind of another reason that this program stuck out to me, because Coach Chryst really reminded me of my high school coach, Coach Dunbar, and that outside of the X's and O's and outside of football, that you have someone that you can go to and people that care about you, more than football.
Joined now by Coach Tim Tibesar. Coach in the NFL, coaches and GMs, they have little symbols for their draft boards. And one of them is a Christmas present. We just talked about Christmas presents. Right. And that indicates that a draft prospect is a gift to the program. Is Dallas Jeanty a gift to the program?
Absolutely. Every recruit's got their own story, but Dallas has probably got one of the most unique and interesting stories with some of the adversity that he's had to go through to get to where he's at. And yet, he's got the biggest smile and the most positive outlook on life of any young man that I've been around. He's got an infectious personality, and he brings everybody else around him up. And he's been a real key component of this recruiting class as far as being able to reach out to his fellow signees and really communicate and stay up with that communication and let them know how strongly he feels about Madison.
On the field, what are you most looking forward to seeing how he transitions to this level on the field?
Well, he's already got the size of what you're looking for in a Big Ten linebacker, and he's got excellent instincts. He's got some real good quickness and explosion, and then he's really been able to display some leadership qualities. He played the Semper Fi game, and the coaches out there were talking about how after one day, of install in the defense, he's out there making all the checks and coordinating the defense and communicating to other players and letting them know what's going on. And so we're really looking forward to see what he can do for us.
I asked a couple of coaches. Teams have slogans. This one, smart, tough, dependable. There's value in each word. How do you measure smart, tough, and dependable when you're out recruiting? How do you do it?
Well, with smart, the first thing you got to look at is their GPA, and Wisconsin's an excellent school, and our standards here at Wisconsin are higher than the NCAA's, which we think is a positive. And so, we're looking for young men who can obviously get admitted into Wisconsin and then perform well while they're here. And then you also talk to their high school coaches and ask about their FBI or their football intelligence, and find out how quickly they can learn schemes and how well they understand concepts, and then can they take that intelligence and translate it to the football field. Then you look at the next thing as far as toughness, and you see what the physical part of it is. You can see that on tape, but you're also looking for the mental toughness,
right?
And find out how tough these guys are and mentally, and you visit with the coaches and you find out, are they leaders? Are they able to handle adversity? Are they able to dig it out through tough times and find that inner strength to help them see it through? And dependable is an absolute key component. To be honest, it's like one step beyond being accountable. It's not just making sure that you're taken care of. It's being a guy that your teammates can count on to always be doing the right thing and doing the best thing for the program.
You were voted National Linebacker Coach of the Year by your peers heading into spring practice, pardon me. And Joe Schobert, he's going pro, but you still have so much talent coming back. How do you build off last year, especially with the youth you have in that room?
Well, we got obviously we're going to miss Joe. Joe was an excellent football player,
sure.
And but we got a great group of linebackers coming back, and at inside and at outside. We got youth. We got some guys that we redshirted that we think are going to be able to help and contribute for us, and so it's really exciting. And it's great to have competition amongst the positions, because that's really what drives everybody to get better. If they got to compete every single day in workouts, in practice, knowing that they got somebody looking over their shoulder who's trying to take their spot, I think that makes both players better.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've spent a lot of time since Coach Wilcox got here with him going over that group. Looking forward to seeing how you guys work together here.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. Speaking of Justin Wilcox, we'll have him here on set next. Just a short break. Be right back here on Inside Signing Day.
Nissan's family of crossovers with intuitive all-wheel drive. See driving in a more confident light in an IIHS top safety pick, like the 2015 Nissan Rogue or the 2015 Nissan Pathfinder. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the Wisconsin Badgers.
First of all, I want to say how lucky I am to be at a university that recognizes the importance of trying to bring this tournament back. For my sport, it is one of the most prestigious events of the year, and as he said, we hosted it in the past, but it's taken a hiatus, and we're very happy to have it back.
Monday Night Hoops at the Kohl Center, and it's family night. Family 4-pack tickets are still available. The package also includes 4 hot dogs and 4 sodas, all for just $28. And next weekend, find your best whites for Whiteout Weekend against Michigan. Need some help? Get an official shirt at Bucky's Locker Room. Tickets start at only $20, and you can find them at uwbadgers.com.
And over the 50 now inside the 45, cuts back far sideline.
Next season's opener against LSU will be here fast, but first, see how Wisconsin football is getting ready for 2016 during this year's spring game on April 23rd. Tickets are $5 and on sale right now, with proceeds benefiting the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement.
Congratulations to all runners.
You can register right now for this year's Crazy Legs Classic, whether you're looking to set a personal best or have a group running for a cause. The annual 8K run or 2-mile walk is April 30th. Register online at crazylegsclassic.com.
Work day, man, work day. Let's go. Let's go, SP. Work day, Banksy, huh? Deep ball, deep ball. There you go. Scotty. Get in there, Walker. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Start fast. Let's go. Okay, good, 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 good. Run first. Hi-hat. You got inside out on 2 to the flat. Okay. Here you go, Corey. Okay. There you go. Right idea. Tackle. They'll line up for you. They'll tell you, you know what I'm saying? 2 guys. Give me a tight end. You're good right there. Give me a slot. Blue Lake, say go. Good right there. Inside. Good. Bend back. There you go. Good. Tight end, flanker, 2x2 max. What call are you expecting right here, Huddy? What call? Outside arm free. Outside arm free. Get your inside foot up. Go. Good. That's it. Good. Add. Okay, good. Okay, let's get this right here. You're going there. You're going there. Down, set. Blue 8. Blue 8, say go. Good right there. Good. You don't need to close the door on him. Just absorb him. Just absorb him. Take your inside. Yeah. You don't need to close the door with your inside foot. Just absorb the route. What'd you do, man? What'd you do for break? Go home? What's happening in Dominguez, man?
I might get a ball head. You think I look nice with ball head?
I don't know. That's gonna help, but I'm kind of fired up. I can't wait to see this little tug of war, man. We need the best bags of the year right now. Best bags of the year. Work day, Josh. Come on. Let's go. Come on, Huddy. Come on, Danny. Finish. Do it right. Do it right. Do it right. We need a good break right here. Let's go, SP. Get a good break. Everybody in. Let's go. We got tug of war. All right, here we go. Oh! Come on, Togi. Oh! Oh! Tebo's gonna come back. Work! 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 Come on, John. Come on, Creed. Come on, Creed. Oh! Dig! Dig! Come on, Togi!
Now joined by new defensive coordinator Justin Wilcox. We're going to go off script here for a minute, taking a look at that mic'd up feature from Washington. You got excited about it looked like tug of war to me.
Yeah, that's all it was.
So much more than that. Competition drill.
Yeah.
Walk us through that.
I mean, that's just something we did, done from time to time, and it has nothing to do with football and everything to do with football, because it's just about competing, and that's one of the things you look for in people, and especially in football, is the guys that'll go out and compete. So that was just a way we try to make it fun for them and let them compete a little bit.
How often do you put something like that in place on the field, and why is something like that important for you as a coach?
Again, I think it just goes back to, in the game of football and in life, competitive people tend to, show up and have success, and I think it was just something we tried to mix it up, whether it was a one-on-one tug of war or one-on-one offense, defense, open field tackling, or anything. I like the fact that the guys go out and compete, and that's one of the things you notice when you watch the guys here who have played here, and is the competition and the love for the moment, and I think that's so important.
It's been about 48 hours since we talked to you during your press conference on Monday. You said you were going through flashcards, trying to get to know the personnel. How's that going right now?
Going well.
How the last 2 days been?
It's been good. I'm getting better and better, and I got the big grid on my desk, and faces, names, jersey numbers, and hometowns. So that's part of my goal, is to get that down as fast as possible.
So right after you got hired, and I was surprised that you weren't asked this Monday, but you went down and saw Garrett Rand. That was a priority, and today, thankfully, everything went according to plan. But to be able to contribute in that way, that quickly to this program, making that visit, how was that visit considering the circumstances?
It was great. Obviously, the coaches here had done a fantastic job recruiting Garrett, and I had known him prior. And when everything kind of got finalized, I guess that was Wednesday, I had made my way to Arizona and was able to jump in on the home visit right away, and had a great visit, and visited with the family and Garrett and Coach Rudolph and Noke. We were all there, and it was a really good visit, and I think probably put everybody's mind at ease a little bit.
Was that the purpose? A little bit more at ease, to reassure that there's still a plan in place for Garrett? It's going to work at Wisconsin.
Right, absolutely. And I think when there is change, sometimes there's people have questions, and those were answered and addressed. And again, the guys had done a phenomenal job recruiting him, and Garrett was great, and we're excited about him and the rest of the guys.
Looking ahead as you settle in, have you and Coach Chryst discussed a position group that you'll coach? Where's that dialogue at? Have you gotten
Right.
that far?
Yeah, we have discussed it, and it'll be something that we're going to be working through here in the next couple weeks, kind of how that's going to evolve. So it's not yet set in stone. It'll be determined here shortly as we get going.
I guess just quickly, what kind of factors go into figuring that out?
Well, I think just, what's best for the staff, what's best for the players and all that. So it's like, there's a couple different options there, and we're going to discuss those here in the next week and a half, and we'll go from there.
So maybe that's one of many things. I'm guessing you have a list that you want to get through before spring practice gets going. What else is on that list?
Well, I mean, I think it's, how structurally, how we're going to be staff-wise, getting to know the players, getting to know, obviously the returners, the semantics, because a lot of the defense is going to be, there's so many similarities, and it's just the language and certain things. Part of it's me learning language, maybe it's tweaks here and there, but I think the semantics of, because in football there's certain things you do, and I think it's just the semantics, the language is a key part of it. So I'm going to be studying all that. We're going to be getting together as a defensive staff and working through those things here in the short term.
That will all lead up to, Coach, you addressing the defense for the first time, get them together as a group. What will that message be?
Well, the first thing, just, that I'm humbled and excited to be able to work with them, and, getting a chance to watch them play, the intangible things that you see on the field. Obviously the skill and the players, but just how they play the game, the toughness, the effort, and all those things I really appreciate. And then it's my job. I think it's actions. There's no speech that you give right off the bat that's going to change everything. I mean, I think it's just over the course of time, and they'll get to know me and I'll get to know them, and I think that's the process. But I'm just excited to work with those guys as I am the staff.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of getting all that done to join us here on set. Lots to do. We look forward to seeing what happens in spring practice. That's Coach Justin Wilcox joining us here inside signing day. And not too long ago, had a chance to meet early enrollee Dallas Jeanty. Now let's meet someone else who's already here on campus, Kare Lyles.
With such great coaches and such great people of Madison, Wisconsin, why not choose Wisconsin? That was basically my perception of it. I lived in the Fitchburg area, so when I made that decision, I got a lot of old friends, congratulating me, excited that I'm coming back. We had a family tradition where every single year we at least went to one Badger game, and that was always an exciting time because going every single game, rooting on for all these players and everything. Now, when you come back here, I'm going to be excited to see, Monte Ball, Scott Tozine, Russell Wilson, all these guys that I grew up watching and, rooting on and everything like that. Now they're coming back here, and now I'm a player. There's a different perception in it too now. So I want to be truly excited when I meet them.
Play action, the bootleg. Looking for Haynes, dumps it off to Lyles, touchdown!
He got a little teary-eyed, just knowing that I'm going to his alma mater, and he was truly excited for me. He's still talking about State Street, playing football here, just the experience of Camp Randall and jump around and everything like that. How the players are so family-like and bring everybody in and everything. So, Wisconsin as a tradition, I feel like there's nothing better. I chose to come here early just to get a head start, get a good, new feel, experience a new thing in life. Coach Chryst really emphasizes what's your why. And, my why is just to get better by every single day. Proving the doubters wrong and, just, being the best me. And, that's what I'm truly excited for.
As promised, working our way all the way to head coach Paul Chryst. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. As all accounts go today, going smoothly from Andrew Marlatt to each coach we've talked to. Love when it shakes out that way. Let's talk about, though, Kare Lyles, who we just saw. I mean, considering the associations, the ties, the background, he had to come here, right?
Well, it certainly helped. And first time we got to watch him on tape, it was, you could see the talent. And I think he's got, certainly his arm is a live arm, and he's got great strength there. But I enjoyed watching him play. I think he just plays the game. I think that's important at the quarterback position, and then a team that's successful, that's good. And the more you get to talk to him and understand who he is, that's when you felt like this is a good fit. I think he loves the game, wants to study it, wants to be great. I think he's got some great leadership skills, all that. We're excited, and really we get the bonus of having Kare and Dallas here right now, and I think that'll help. I'm looking forward to getting going with him really tomorrow.
How much fun it is for you to talk to a kid whose parent not only played but played here. I mean, that's got to be a little extra fun for you when you're recruiting like that.
It is, especially when they're a good player and you think you got a chance to get them there. And yet it's, I think he understands this place.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm proud of, really, with the whole class. I think the group got the big picture of what Wisconsin is, and we talk about it all the time, not just what Wisconsin is, but who Wisconsin is, and understanding the value of it all. And I think Kare definitely, Mom and Dad went here. It's special to him, but I also think there's enough time that's gone. He can make it. He can write his own story, and that I'm looking forward to.
We've heard smart, tough, and dependable for the last hour and change. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you authored that. Where does that come from, and why smart, tough, dependable? Something you picked up along the way? Is something you've always?
Yeah, I didn't.
It's a foundation. Not originally, but
I didn't coin it. And,
not coin it, but here.
Didn't coin it, and I'm neither smart nor, but I think that in knowing the kids that have gone through this place, and I think what set them apart, the ones that have success and the teams that have success are smart teams. And what is smart? It's smart enough to know how to get better, smart enough to know how to manage your day, smart enough to hear the coaching points and get better with those. Tough, it's not easy, and you need to be mentally tough. You need to be physically tough, and dependable. Accountability, those go hand in hand, and it's knowing that you can count on the guy next to you, they can count on you, and with that, there's a responsibility to it. So I think that the teams that are made up of individuals, so the individuals that are smart, tough, and dependable, they have a chance, and we then, as a team, have a chance to be our best.
All playing into recruiting. When it comes to recruiting, how is your visit, a head coach's visit, different than anyone else we've had on set for this show, an assistant coach? When the head guy comes in, what's different about that visit?
Well, I think the one thing that's different is I only get one time to go see them. Yeah. And now many of them I've seen them, they were here for a visit, they're here for an unofficial visit. But that you want to make the most of that. It's I think what's unique for me is by having gone into everyone's house and seeing it, I can also share with parents and kids about the rest of the class. But I think for me it's one shot, and you appreciate. I appreciate it now more than I did as an assistant, because when I was an assistant, I could be in the house 3-4 times, been around the kid a lot. You get one chance, you want to maximize that day, and yet I still think it's really important to go out and to see where they come from, see, meet people in the school, meet people in the community maybe, seeing what their house is like, seeing, brother and sister or whatever that may be. I think the home visit's crucial, but, unfortunately I only get one as a head coach, and so you want to maximize it.
How does the recruit or the parents, how do they perk up when you are characterizing the class as a whole? I mean, it's a team. It's all part of a team. You're sharing those stories, those traits that are important. That's when they tune in.
Well, you hope they're tuning in the whole time. But, I think that for instance, we had probably 4 or 5 big recruiting weekends. And let's say we had one weekend, we got 10 families, 10 kids on it. They know each other, and they're around it. Those parents are around it. And I think back to a couple of groups that had a great time. The parents were meshing, and it was a great fit. Then you have the next weekend, you're like, I wish this group was with the group from last week, because it's the same group. Different personalities, different names, but it's the same. And I'm like, you're going to love this group. You're going to love that. And I think they feel good. In the end, I think all recruits end up saying, when you say what made the difference, why'd you pick Wisconsin? They'll say, it felt right. It's a feel thing. And so if you can share with them, maybe reinforces or reaffirms what it is that they felt, and then we get energized. We as coaches sat around and said, this is a good class. That's a special group. Boy, those parents were something else. Those kids, how they've gotten together. So you just want them to know how energized we are, and because it's going to be that group, whether it's the kids or even the families, they're going to be with each other 4 or 5 years. They'll form some great friendships and bonds through that.
Now that you've turned the page officially from the Holiday Bowl and last season through signing day, spring practice coming up a year ago, you had a quarterback kind of help transition a staff, I think, into place. And now it might be the opposite, Coach. You got a staff that's going to have to help transition a new quarterback into place. How different will this spring be for you?
Every spring's different, and this one certainly will be. As far as the quarterback position, I'm excited. I think Bart and Alex, they're going to get a ton of reps, and Kare's here, and he can learn. And then that's the 3 that we have, and our job is to make sure that they become, they improve, and the goal is really to get them. We got to get them ready to play, and I'm not going to worry about naming a starter, who's the starter. I want to make sure that Bart Houston is getting better, Alex Hornibrook is getting better, and that's really the focus in spring. I want to make sure Kare gets an understanding and starts to feel comfortable in this offense, and how they progress, that's on them, it's on us, and I'm excited about that.
Well, so I think not only I know the rest of the staff, everyone thrilled about this class, can't wait to get on the field and actually get spring practice going, but also everyone who follows this team looking forward to what you guys put on the field.
Yeah, it's
this spring.
Yeah, and I've loved right now. Kids are back in the weight room, and they're enjoying kind of this winter phase, and appreciate what Ross is doing there. And it feels like the game just finished up, and certainly today with the official end of this signing period, and yet it is an exciting time, and it always is. And looking forward to getting back and kind of doing some studies with our different projects, and then spring ball will be here shortly, and it's always a fun time when you're on the field with the kids.
It is, and it will be here before we all know it. Let you get ready for it. Head coach Paul Chryst wrapping up what has been 75 minutes here from the football offices inside Camp Randall Stadium for Inside Signing Day. That's going to do it for 2016. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We really do appreciate it. For head coach Paul Chryst, all the way back to Andrew Marlatt, all the coaches, UWBadgers.com's Brandon Spiegel, I'm Chris Hall. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. And also want to take a minute to thank everyone who made this show happen. Jeff Bell, John Schaefer, Jerry Mao, Colin Ludema, Daniel Stolovitsky, Patham Karu Naratni, Brian Lucas, Brian Mason, Andy Baggett, Paul Manier, Brittany Ewing, Lauren Arndt, TJ Engels, and Kadero Watson. Everyone playing a role in making this show happen. We really do appreciate all of you watching. If you missed the show, if you tuned in late, or frankly you just want to watch it again, it'll be archived on uwbadgers.com this afternoon. I'm Chris Hall. Everyone have a great rest of your Wednesday.
No, this is Isaiah Cole. And you're on the camera.
Isaiah, Coach Chryst, congratulations.